Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is We're the Game. I'm Michael, and that's Luke. And we are going to talk about week 3 and the Arizona Cardinals game against the 49ers. Cardinals are coming off their win against the Panthers. Both teams are 2-0. Divisional game rivalry coming up. Should be a really interesting game. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. But as we start to talk about the Cardinals coming into this game, I think one of the big questions that we want to go over is what do you see as Arizona key thing that they need to do to be competitive and win this game or compete in this game, however you want to look at that?
It'd be easy to point to just finish a game based on the last two games that we've played, and we've gotten ahead and then taken our foot off the gas. I don't know that we're going to get ahead in the same fashion that we did, 27-3 over the Panthers, and I don't even remember how up we were over the Saints the week before. But I don't know that something like that is going to happen this week. This feels like it'll be closer. So what I would probably say is we're going to actually need to get the wide receivers working. The last couple of weeks, the Niners, they played the Saints, they played the Seahawks. Those teams were able to get some, at least, pretty good production out of their wide receivers. And we're going to need to exploit that, maybe not weakness, but kind of vulnerability. They're certainly not impervious. We're going to need to get that involved. That would definitely scratch an itch of we need to get Marvin involved anyway, as they have not been great. They have underwhelmed when getting Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. But yeah, that's, I think, where we really need to push them is the outside game with the wide receivers. So, yeah, that's what I'd really like to see. You?
Yeah. Oh, I think you're right on there. It's interesting that the Cardinals, obviously, I think James Conner is one of the best running backs in the game. I think he's a little talked about, but very productive back. Kyler can run. Trey Benson's had some great moments, as you called. So I think the passing game, as you just stated, has been underwhelming. I think kind of the opposite has been true more so for the 49ers. Their running game, with McCaffrey back still, has really not been anything particularly concerning. The Cardinals have been significantly better in the run game, but I think that needs to shift for this game coming up. And you'd almost think that it would with Matt Jones playing. I think he's still listed currently. I think there's some questions there, but yeah, I would anticipate that we're going to see more running, and we'll get a better picture of what McCaffrey is. But that makes perfect sense that we're going to need to see not just passing, but I don't want to point right at Trey McBride on this one, but maybe passing in the end zone would be pretty cool too. So no, I agree with that. Now, with that being said, what's your call on how either the 49ers, what's their game plan, or how are they going to come in to, with their analysis of the Cardinals to try to either exploit a weakness or to hedge up their own weaknesses, because they're pretty banged up at this point in time, right? They've got injuries to Kittle, they've got injuries on their quarterback room, they've kind of got injuries all around. So what do you really see them kind of coming in? What would they need to do to be competitive and win this game?
Well, I see them really relying on Christian McCaffrey. At least for this part of the season, he's still healthy and he's getting a lot of touches. Classic Christian McCaffrey is in the air and on the ground. And I think that's the kind of their path to victory, is making that work, even if Brock Purdy is playing. And I know they've been a little non-committal at this point. Maybe more information will come out today, but they have not quite said yay or nay. Kittle has hurt us pretty badly in years past, but with him out, they're going to be looking for whoever is behind Kittle as a tight end. I imagine we'll learn that guy's name. But with their wide receiver,
or another, yeah.
Right, with their wide receiver group being a little more than a little, quite beat up right now, they're going to be counting on Christian McCaffrey. On the other side of this, it's going to be about pressuring Kyler Murray. Our offensive line has not been playing up to the standards they were last year thus far. Mm-hmm. So they're probably going to perceive that as a vulnerability. It probably is something of a vulnerability, and they're going to be pushing Kyler pretty hard. So I would think for them, it's run the ball, pressure Kyler, see if you can get him to make a mistake like that stupid throw he made at the end of this last game against the Panthers. So for them, yeah, they've got to keep the score down. because I don't think they want to get in a shootout with what they have right now. So, but yeah, run the ball. Christian McCaffrey, as long as he's healthy, get the best out of him. Yeah, I think that's kind of their path. Well, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to lean heavily on that defense, right? And if that defense can be as solid as they have been, and I know the Saints put up some points on them, but their defense has still overall been pretty good. The game against Seattle, who's dangerous, they held up pretty good. So I think if they can get good productivity out of their defense, I think that's going to be a real key for them. If their defense does not hold either the passing or the running game, or worse, let's y'all have a balanced attack at all, like you've already pointed out. I With what they have, I don't see how they survive a shootout in that. So yeah, I agree. I guess I'm thinking about it from the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay. So here's a fun one, which is okay. Who is the other week you called Trey Benson? That turned out pretty solid. I think he had a big play in that game. Who is your key to success? Like either a player, maybe a position group, but like a more focused place to put your finger and say, hey, this is where I see this game coming down to. He's going to be high impact in this game. What do you see in there? What's your call?
Yeah, kind of got one on each side of the ball. And one of them is I think he's going to be a big part of the success if we're going to have it. And that's Marvin Harrison Jr. It's getting him back involved, as I talked about with like, what do we got to do to win? Get the wide receivers going. That's got to be him. I'm not going to put a number on what he has to do. It just has to look like he's involved deliberately and it's working to some degree. He doesn't have to go 10 for 10, targets, but just it's been kind of up and down. Week 1 worked pretty well. Everyone was high praise on it. And it was just like, yeah, this is looking good. And then week 2, he kind of disappeared. So he needs to show up this week. I'm not necessarily blaming him, but he needs to be a known factor. On the other side of the ball, there's a guy I've been kind of disappointed in so far this year, Darius Robinson. You've heard me talk about him.
Yeah.
He has disappeared off the face of the earth. He hardly has any stats. I think he's out there playing. I don't know if he's just pushing, like basically just doing push-ups right now, but he's not a factor at all. And it's getting to be that time where it's like, you need to turn into something. You were a first-round pick, and you really need to be something more than just a backup, or you will be maybe the biggest bust that they've drafted so far. So I'm ready. It doesn't have to be this game necessarily, but it's I'm at that point now moving forward where I'm going to be looking at Darius Robinson like, hey man, where's this playmaking ability we saw coming out of college? And we need to see some of that. Is there a guy that you were thinking of coming out?
No, I like your Marvin Harrison pick because he's a guy who profiles like he should be a yak machine. Like he should be a yards after carry guy. Like we've seen him be a possession menace at times in the end zone. But like, hey, let's see more of that. Whereas like Trey has, I think, twice as many yards after catch. Then and really so does Higgins as well. Your tight end group, you're getting a lot of productivity out of already, which is really fun to watch. But I'm going to see that out of him too. It's I do want to see him become the Mike Evans of the end zone for the Cardinals. But let's see some more of that menacing size played against, like the mismatch play a little bit there. So I agree with you. I think he's got to be a factor in this game, and I think that pushing more for the yards after carry, maybe taking an Anquan Bolden page, would be cool to see him. Just take a little bit of evolutionary step there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, let's bring it down to a prediction or a call on who's going to win this game. I think we know where that's going. But what do you think the score would be? Where are you placing that? What do you see there?
Well, like I said at the beginning, I don't think this is going to be one of those games where we get up big and then we take our foot off the gas because we're up 27-9 or anything like that. I think this is going to be a game that's played right through to the end. Last year, we did run away with one. The second game against the Niners last year, but they were even more beat up than they are now. It was Josh Dobbs out there at quarterback. But that game was actually fairly close, I believe, going into the fourth quarter, and then we kind of ran away in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
This year, I think this will be more like the first game where it's close and it comes down to a field goal at the end or a stop or something like that. I would love to actually win a game with the ball in our hand at the end of it. That sounds kind of nice. Maybe stress inducing in
Mhm.
another way. But as for a score prediction, I don't think this is going to be a crazy scoring game. We have not really shown that. So I mean, 24-22 or something like that sounds just about right. And I'm hoping it's the Cardinals with the 24. I'll even say I'm predicting that, but I'm. They have not given me reason to be incredibly confident yet. And San Francisco's a really well coached, well run team. So, would you see higher or lower, or bent the other way?
I mean, I see the potential for it to be more open than that, especially if the Cardinals. We've been talking about how the Cardinals do seem to do that halftime. Hey, let's put on the brakes and maybe play for health in the second half, which there's some value there, I'm sure. But yeah, I could see the potential that you could get up a little further than that if the very injured 49ers offense isn't able to produce and you're able to. So I would love to see that. But yeah, I do anticipate this will be a close one. Cards, I'll take the Cards, partly just out of health. I think that you have so many more healthy players than they do. So I would definitely take the Cardinals on that one.
Okay.
So, but we'll have to see how that plays out here coming up on Sunday. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to catching as much of that one as I can. Although it's at a complicated time during the the Sunday for me. But yeah, that sounds good. Well, with that, let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for joining. We're still on our quest for 100 subscribers. We're getting closer. Thank you everyone who's already subscribed. So if you want to like or subscribe or comment and tell us how crazy we are, if you're a 49ers fan, you can jump right in there as well. We still allow it. But outside of that, we'll see what happens on Sunday and talk to everybody next time.